I'm King Pinkerton, and this is my quick review of Bomberman Act Zero for the Xbox 360. Developed by Hudson and published by Konami for the Xbox 360, Bomberman Act Zero came to the response of a giant bleh. But what do I think of it? Bomberman Act Zero's gameplay is essentially no different than any other Bomberman game. The first-person bomber mode, which is just really close third-person, but you can move the camera and you have a health bar. And then there's standard mode, which looks way more like a regular Bomberman game. However, in this mode, there is no health bar, so get hit once, and you're dead. There are still power-ups, just like how we love them, and they work the exact same way as they did in the older games. No kick bomb or throw bomb, though. Once you beat an enemy, you go through a slight loading screen, and you raise your hand in victory, and then it tells you you're a winner, and you get to be alive, and you get to the next stage. And then you continue playing the game. The problem? The collision detection. Bomberman moves kind of in a 3D way, but the stages are built much like older Bomberman games, so it kind of feels uncomfortable. And having to wait an hour for the fire to go away. But I think the biggest problem is that there's 99 courses and no save feature, which means you have to play through all 99 courses without taking a single break. And while any upgrades you do get in previous levels stick with you through the rest of the game, I only ever got really to stage 5 before I just turned the game off. The game does kind of wear you out. That doesn't bring me to what I think is the absolute biggest problem with this game. The lack of local multiplayer. I repeat, the lack of local multiplayer. The only way to play this game is to play online, and since it's an Xbox game, you have to have Xbox Live Gold. If you don't, you can only play this game single player. Bomberman was known well for its awesome multiplayer in pretty much all of its games. Even if the game was mediocre at best, you at least knew that it was going to offer you an awesome local multiplayer experience. But with this strange subtraction, you can't help but feel that was one of the main reasons that ultimately killed this game. I wouldn't classify Bomberman Act Zero as a terrible game, but it's a little more than a distraction if you're a big fan of the series. The GameCube controller is the best Nintendo controller in my opinion. So beautiful, so sleek, so modern looking. However, unless you can afford it, chances are you don't own that cool new adapter for the Wii U. And even if you do, it only works for Super Smash Bros. And while a bunch of Wii games do support use of the GameCube controller, what if you own something like this, which cannot use the GameCube controller, as later Wii models, including the Wii Mini, removed compatibility of the GameCube entirely? Here comes Hori to save us all. This is the Hori Battle Pad for the Wii and Wii U. Plugs into your Wii remote, and serves the purpose of a classic controller. But it has that distinct feel of the GameCube controller. And it features turbo. Not that many games will very be useful for it, because most games just have you hold the button, but you might find a use for it. Anyways, this controller is very comfortable. I feel a lot of comfort when playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Smash for Wii U. Which I'm glad I can, because the GameCube controller was my favorite. This isn't as good as the GameCube controller, but it's a close second. It has L and R, which aren't as good as the GameCube's, but they work. They also have ZL and ZR for whatever you feel like setting to them. I usually set whatever was set to Z in Melee. and then that one is usually never used because I'm too used to the GameCube controller. There's a home, minus, and start button. They serve the same things on the Wii Remote and the regular classic controller. The D-pad is the only thing that I actually think is better than the GameCube controller. This one's big and giant. It's pretty much about the same size as the one you'd see on a regular classic controller, but it's designed more like the GameCube. It has the C stick, it has the analog stick. The analog stick is where it should be, instead of being right here like it is on the classic controller. And it has that weird looking button layout that I still love. It's just so comfy. But this is the Hori Battle Pad. Even if you already have that cool little adapter for your Wii U, you should buy this anyways. It comes in cool styles, and it can match the Mario Wii Remote. There's also a Luigi one, in case you want that. And if you just weren't feeling up to it, you can import a Japanese exclusive one, which is designed like Pikachu, and also comes with one of those weird faceplates for the Wiimote that you probably never used. But hey, these controllers just might be motivation you needed. Okay, it's now time for something a little different than what you may have expected. Today we're going to be taking a look at Sonic R. Sonic R is a racing game for the Sega Saturn, and is the only original Sonic game on the entire system. Kind of odd considering it was their first jump to 3D. You may think a 3D Sonic game was on here, but other than this, Sonic Jam, which is just a compilation, and a port of Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic didn't get a lot of love on the Sega Saturn. And that's probably because it wasn't a very good system. But anyways, this game would be known as one of the only bad Sonic games released before the 2000s. It's a racing game where all the characters run on their feet instead of driving a car, unless you're playing as a character like Amy or Tails. But the main thing in this game is that, you know, I'm sure you've heard this plenty of times, but this game kind of sucks. Bad controls, bad camera, severe glitches, bad graphics, weird clipping issues, you might find yourself in a wall once or twice, and overall just not a very good competitor to Mario Kart. But there's a big difference between me showing you a picture of the game and actually playing the game itself. So let's go review Sonic R for the Sega GameCube. Oh man, Nintendo used to get everything. Let's get this started. Now a little backstory for our speed racing friends over here. Sonic R was originally to be developed by Sonic Team. However, sometime down the road, development was switched to Traveler's Tales, who also developed Sonic 3D Blast. The reason being that they were impressed by their work on Toy Story for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. I've played this game, and it's not even that fun, and it's honestly just kind of bland and only graphically impressive. Okay, here goes nothing. Now, before I give any thoughts on this game, I just want you to hear the very opening song. Mainly the lyrics. Yeah, this kind of music doesn't exactly belong at all in a Sonic game, or really a racing game, or a Sega game, except maybe Space Channel 5, but it's just not fitting. But music isn't everything. The main part of a game is its gameplay. Sonic R is a racing game, and it has 3 modes: Grand Prix, Time Attack, and Multiplayer. And options. The best game mode in the history of Sega. I've had more fun in options than I have in Seaside Hills. I'd just like to take some notes with how weird these graphics are, and what better place to start than with Sonic's popsicle hand. And with his arms, it kind of looks like a coconut popsicle. Sonic, you're looking pretty sharp there. You got any round edges on you? I see more round edges on the artwork than you. But anyways, when you begin the game, you have a selection between 4 racers. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, who drive the car, because girls can't run, right? They just drive their station wagons everywhere. You can also unlock Eggman, Metal Sonic, Tails Doll, Knuckles Robot, Eggman Robo, and the most broken character, Super Sonic, who is basically God in this racing game. Unlike most racers, this game only has 5 stages, an extremely short amount, especially when you consider the fact that Mario Kart had 16 and it was only on a cartridge. We have Resort Island, Radical City, Regal Ruin, Reactive Factory, and Radiant Emerald, all cleverly started with the letter R. How funny. In every race, you race 5 opponents. For even though it's a Grand Prix, you only actually race on 1 track. The tracks themselves are pretty small, and are more platformer-esque than they are actually racing. And if you know the shortcuts, you can finish every lap in under a minute. Scattered everywhere are rings, which can help you use these boost pads that make you go super fast. Though if you don't have enough rings, they won't get you very far. And in every race, the weather even changes. A feature that I kinda sorta like, but I'm not gonna die if it hadn't existed. And honestly, it's not a feature that fully needed to exist. Scattered through every stage is a special doorway that has a number on it. If you have the exact same amount of rings as the door says so, you can go through it, taking a nice shortcut to skip through the competition. Now, much like in Mario Kart, there are items to be used, though unlike in Mario Kart, they're not nearly as useful. What I just got there was 10 rings, but you can also get speed shoes that make you go faster, a lightning shield, which attracts rings, and more. Unlocking Eggman is as simple as being the Grand Prix, but to get Metal Sonic, Tails Doll, Metal Knuckles, and Eggman Robo, you have to find 5 coins. Scattered through every stage is a coin with Sonic's face on it. Collect all and come in 3rd or further, and you get to race against a special character. There's also Chaos Emeralds to collect, but in order to even earn them, you have to find the Chaos Emerald, and then get in 1st place. There's 1 Chaos Emerald in Resort Island, and 2 Chaos Emeralds in Radical City, Regal Ruin, and Reactive Factory. Once you nab all the Chaos Emeralds, you get to play as Super Sonic. And Super Sonic is the cheapest character in all of racing history. He has the best handling, the best speed, and a double jump to boot. And considering the fact that you're racing against all the extra characters, which for the most part are slower than the characters you start with, it's just so pathetic. And players barely come in front of you. And every time you race as one of the unlockable characters, you have to go up against Super Sonic. If you manage to beat all the Grand Prix levels with Tails Doll, you deserve some sort of reward, because he is the slowest character in the entire game, other than Amy. Radiant Emerald is the only unlockable track in the entire game. And what do you know, it's a Rainbow Road clone. Even with the same insane colors everywhere, but none of the fun. Multiplayer is certainly the most fun mode in the game, but trust me, no one's ever going to want to play this game with you when you unlock Super Sonic, because someone is going to inevitably select him and win. You know, unless they suck at this game. Overall, Sonic R is a bad game, but it's not the worst racing game I've ever played. I've certainly played a lot where it's like big rigs over the road racing, but what it tries to do is just hampered by how unfinished the game is. You'll run into walls, and there's no reverse button, which is one of the biggest things in any racing game. Because if you ever crash into a wall, you're gonna need a way to recover. But if you don't have a way to recover, you're doomed. Not to mention, the game doesn't look very good for a Saturn game. Graphics don't matter, but even then, it's just too boxy. I've seen round shapes on a Sega Saturn before. Sonic Jam's 3D stages had actual rounds, but this is just kinda blah. It wouldn't be until Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing where they seemingly actually got the racing formula correct, even if they did just purely copy Mario Kart.